Microphone check 212. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. For the last time of 2020, I'm bringing you some of the highest quality bearded man content to your eardrums. Let's go. This is it. This is the last pod of 2020. What is crazy is that 6 months ago, this project had 12 episodes. The first 6 months of 2020, I pretty much produced 1 to 2, well, it was 2 episodes. It averages out 2 episodes a month for the first 6 months, and had no direction, had no idea what I was doing. Middle of the pandemic, I was trying all these different passions. I was trying golfing. I bought an Xbox. I was kind of having this idea to get back into the podcast game, but I was nervous because I pretty much had moved on from the old show, and there was a solid like 3-month stretch during the middle of the pandemic when it first hit that I was just testing and trying to find, what does my life look like outside of working? When I'm not working and I feel fulfilled and I know what I'm supposed to be doing, great, but when I'm not working, what am I doing? And I didn't have anything to work on, and it drove me nuts because as somebody who had spent so long building a podcast project for the last 3 years, I felt like I didn't have a place to share my voice. And what a blessing. What a blessing this next chapter has been. It's the Bearded Man podcast. I couldn't be more happier about where this direction has gone. That was my biggest concern when I took the job at Look What I Be, was that I knew I was going to be potentially moving on from Purpose in the Youth, my old show. And like anything in life, what I've realized is that anytime I feel like I'm at a crossroads or I don't know which way to go, everything always works out in itself in the long term. And so I started to have all these realizations about the podcast and what I wanted this thing to become. I recorded a podcast called Think Less, Do More for episode 12, and it was pretty much a note to myself saying, or a podcast for myself of like, stop overthinking this podcast project. You know what you want to do, Bearded Man. Just do it. I flew home to Massachusetts for 10 days, saw some family, but in the back of my mind, I knew when I touched down back in LA, I'm getting back on the horse. I'm getting back in the podcast game, and the world's going to know me. And the world hasn't woke up yet. They're still sleeping, but it was the greatest decision I ever made. And I came back, and ever since, I've put out 2 episodes per week since July, I believe. Let me look. Did I write it down? Yep, July 21st. We've dropped 41 episodes, ladies and gentlemen. In 6 months, 41 episodes. That's including 1 solo pod a week, which I hope you enjoy because you're listening right now. And that also includes a guest episode per week. And so I've just enjoyed this process. I'm so thankful for the last 5 months of building this podcast project up from the ground up. So thrilled with the guests that have been on the show. So thrilled with the content we've been pumping out for solo. And I hope you guys and gals have enjoyed both a weekly pod of a guest and an interview style, and then a weekly pod of some bearded wisdom. So I just wanted to say it has been incredible these last 6 months since kind of getting this podcast really rolling. And I appreciate anyone out there that has been tuning in. We got a lot more great content on the way. We got 2 weeks off during the holidays. We'll be back January 4th with episode 54. But just wanted to celebrate for a second and take a moment because I get so into that rhythm of like crushing, just trying to pump podcasts, trying to get more views or, get more exposure, spread awareness of the brand, spread like wildfire. And going into today's podcast today, I said, I got to take a moment to honestly stop for a second and reflect, because there was a solid 9 months in my life where I wasn't putting out podcast content, and I just felt lost. I felt like I was still looking for that creative itch, and this is it. This is the podcast, and I'm so, so happy with where it's been going. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have been creating, and if not, hey, it's okay because I got more content coming, baby. But this is going to be the final episode of 2020, 2-week break. We'll be back at the top of 2021 with some high-quality content. Got some great guests lined up, so sit tight. January, fire it up. We're coming in hot, baby. Clear the way. The Bearded Man's coming. A couple more housekeeping things. We'll get today's podcast. This past Friday, celebrated my 27th birthday. Let's go. Clap it up. Clap it up. It was pretty awesome. I got an 80-minute, 90-minute massage. First official massage I ever got. Highly, highly recommend. Of course, it was COVID-friendly, masks, gloves, the whole nine. I felt like I was ready to run a marathon after that. My whole body was just loose, and it was incredible. Took a little stroll down Manhattan Beach solo after that. The sun was shining. It was probably 65, 70 degrees. Got a nice little coffee. Starbucks caramel salted cold brew. I don't know if you guys and gals have ever had it. Had it for the first time. Highly recommend. Bearded Man approved. And then did a little dinner and dessert date with my boy Dylan Reese. Shout out to Dylan Reese if you can hear this. He treated me to dinner. That was incredible. And then we got some Cold Stone ice cream. We watched 2 docs. It was a nice laid back birthday. I couldn't have asked for a better birthday. Very calm, relaxing. Took the day off from work. And I think it's good. You got to, like I talked about on the last solo pod, you got to celebrate your birthdays. You got to, it doesn't matter if you're getting quote unquote older. I feel like you got to always celebrate the day that you were born. And I feel like wine, ages better with time. I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like my life is getting better. Every time I level up and get to the next age bracket, I'm fucking ready to roll. I got enough that I'm taking with me from 26, a couple lessons, a couple bad mistakes, put in my back pocket, keep it moving. But overall, just really very fortunate for where I am at 27 and very much looking forward to where this next year is going to go. So let's crank up the heat. Get the party started, baby. Other than that, it was a low-key weekend, though. Going back east for the holidays. By the time this podcast drops, I will be hopping on a red-eye Thursday night. Can't wait for that. Not going to be fun. But yeah, flying back east, so I kept it low-key this weekend. Got to get a COVID test tomorrow on Tuesday. I know you guys and gals care so much, but I got to get my travel certificate that pretty much states that I'm COVID-friendly, that I don't have COVID, and that I am okay to travel. So, going to get that checked out, make sure I'm good to go. Hop on American Airlines, soaring through the sky, baby, through the night like an eagle. All you guys and gals are going to be sleeping. No, not for the bearded man. He's going to be moving and grooving, baby. Coming in hot to Bradley Airport in Hartford, CT. Get the red carpet ready. Fireworks upon arrival. Let's get this freaking party started. I'm excited to go back, see the fam. See my parents, see my sister. Ooh, home-cooked meals. Sign me up. But I hope you guys and gals have some good Christmas holiday plans, New Year's plans to see your family. It's a good time. The second half of December, it slows down. The world slows down for a solid 2 weeks. And then even the beginning of January, everyone's like trying to get their lives together after holidays and New Year's shenanigans. But yeah, I'm excited to see some family. Today we had episode 52 of the podcast roll out with Connor Wolpert, my fellow bearded brother. Great bearded guy. This was somebody I connected with 2 years ago for a podcast, and at the time he was the founder and CEO of Adventure Aid, and he moved on from that project, and he just recently, pretty much in the last 7 days, started rolling out content for his next project called The Idea Factory, which I am a big fan of. It's pretty much a platform to empower people to bring their ideas to life. And he's going to be, with his team, shedding light on ideas, bringing them to fruition. Just an incredible podcast. We get into a lot of, like I said, his first business, a lot of leadership skills that he learned. Similar to me when I had this break from Purpose in the Youth to now It's the Bearded Man podcast. He had a long period of time where he was trying to figure out what's this next chapter look like for him. And then kind of we dive into what this Idea Factory is going to become, some of the lessons that he's learned so far, some of the biggest challenges he's had to overcome, and just a very authentic and real conversation. That's what I love about these guests and interview pods. It's just real shit. It's the real, authentic conversations. We're not here to cookie cut. We're not here to produce this eloquently produced podcast where it's buttoned up and it's perfect for TV. No, this is real shit, real conversations with real people, and we just go with the flow. And stoked to have Connor as the last guest of 2020. So shout out to you, Connor Wolpert. But I would give that a listen if you guys haven't already. It's a great episode. We got to do 2 reviews of the week before we get into today's podcast. We're normally lucky if we have 1 review of the week, all right? Let me tell you, if I get 1 review of the week, I'm freaking fired up. But this week, we have 2 reviews of the week to go through, and I'm stoked. First off, we got to give a shout out to my boy, Ben McAvoy. I think that's how you say your last name, Ben. If I'm wrong, once again, terrible with names. He said, Bobby the GOAT, five-star review. Love that. He said, I've been rocking with Bobby for almost the last 2 years since he was firing off Purpose in the Youth episodes. That show was what got me hooked with podcasts. Since then, it's been awesome to see Bobby's growth into the podcast production, his variety of guests, and the topics he covers. The lessons I've learned through this podcast has helped change my life for the better. Whether it's adjusting how I wake up, how open I am to certain people, what I eat, self-motivation, literally anything, Bobby and the guests he's had have provided some unreal insight that can help anyone. I highly suggest checking this show out. Also, a fellow Massachusetts guy, so that's an automatic 5 stars. Clearly, I can't read as I was going through this review, as you guys and gals just heard, and I can't read. But shout out to Ben. This is awesome, and I'm stoked to see he's been rocking with me since Purpose in the Youth. It's incredible, and some of these lessons are awesome. Just the approach of how he wakes up and what he eats and how open he is to certain people. I think that's so crucial, and props to you, Ben. Thanks for supporting. Second review of the week goes to my girl, Andy Miller. She leaves the subject of the review, leaves you feeling great, 5 stars. Love that. Shout out to you, Andy. She said, Bobby is unapologetically and authentically his true self. He lives to better himself so that he can share his experiences with us so we can live better too. His words are motivating and inspirational. Those he interviews are highly intelligent and have lived extraordinary lives. The stories you hear are pure and mind-blowing. You rock, Bearded Man. Shout out to you, Andy. Thank you so much for the review. And thank you for taking the time to listen to these podcasts. At the end of the day, nobody would benefit if nobody was listening. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, know that I appreciate you. And shout out to Ben and Andy on the reviews of the week. All right. I know you guys and gals are probably sick of it. Are you guys ready for the last episode of 2020? Are you ready? This is it. After this episode, we're going to 2021. There's no going back. But I think we're all sick of freaking 2020. So let's move it on. Today's topic, creating habits that stick. 2021 is approaching, and I'm sure we're all excited about this reset. I know. New year comes new resolutions, and so I want to cover this now because it's going to be extremely important going into the new year. And it's good to start thinking about what are some of those new habits that we want to incorporate into our life, because I know with the new year, a lot of New Year's resolutions comes, and figure why not end the podcast or the last episode of the year talking about how to create habits that stick. And honestly, it's better to start planning now, because once that new year hits, full throttle 2021, it's probably, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks out from the new year. So I think it's good to start thinking about it now, so that, if you're enjoying the holidays and New Year's shenanigans, everything's going to be freaking crazy. The world's going to be going nuts. And you want to be ready to go for January 1st, 2021. So as you listen to this podcast, if you're able to, I don't know if you're running, if you're driving, if you're flying in a plane, it's the beauty of podcasting. You never know where you guys and gals are, but I think it's so epic that you're listening to this while you do something else. It's freaking awesome. But if you have the ability, I would say, as you're listening to this podcast and ideas pop up, write down ideas of new habits you want to incorporate into the new year. Write it on your phone, your notes app, write it down on a piece of paper, keep it in the back of your mind if you're busy, but try to think about what are those new habits that you want to incorporate into your life. And hopefully through this podcast episode, when I talk about some of my experiences and how I've incorporated new habits into my life, hopefully it can be helpful to you guys and gals. So I'm excited about today's podcast, creating habits that stick. But before we do, you know the drill. If you guys and gals enjoy this podcast at any moment in time, all that I ask, please, for the last time in 2020, my last request, screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bobby, that's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and Y, throw it up on your IG story, tag me, show the world that you're listening to this podcast, and let us know what you enjoyed and what you learned. Greatly appreciate it, helps build the brand. I know you guys are so sick of it, but I gotta say it because it grows the podcast. So thank you to those out there that are doing it. If you have not done it yet, now's your time to shine, baby. Do it. It's greatly appreciated. at Bob A, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Screenshot the episode, post your IG story, tag me. Let's go. All right, water break, and then let's roll. So if you got water, throw it up in the air, start drinking it, start chugging on 3. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Oh, yeah. Come on. I'll tell you what, I hope they got better water in 2021. Don't know how they're going to do it because this shit's already bomb. And I love it. Okay. Let's do this. You guys and gals ready? Awesome. Let's do it. Creating new habits. Hold on, let me stretch out my notes section on my phone or my computer so it looks good. Okay, that sounded creepy. Sorry, not cutting it out. Creating new habits. When it comes to adding new habits into my life, I'm a little cray-cray. Maybe even a little bit of a psycho, because when I set my mind and my heart to something, I stick to it. I think that's probably been a lesson that I learned early on and has definitely been something that's been in part of me since I've gotten older. And if my mother ever hears this, Mom, I distinctively remember you telling me as a kid that I was just like you, because anytime I got my heart set on something, a goal, something I wanted to buy, whatever it might be, I always found a way to make it happen. And she always told me that I took it from her. And I think she was talking more about the retail therapy. So shout out to you, Mom. Keep swiping that credit card. Send me the bill. Hopefully I'm going to pay it off one day for you. But I like the idea of like, whenever I'd put my eyes on the prize, whether it was getting into Bentley University and not getting in as a freshman, but transferring and making it happen, whether it was, I don't know. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Moving to California, shit. I've been wanting to do that since I was a kid. Anytime that I've set my eyes on a prize or a goal, some take longer than others, but I've always found a way. Not because I'm some cool guy, not because I got all the secrets in my freaking pocket. I just do what I got to do. I play the cards that I'm dealt, find ways to work around problems. I leap over the river. I create the bridge if I have to, you know what I'm saying? B.O.B. again, lyrical, but I always find a way. But do I have the secret sauce? No, there is no secret sauce. I just have a beard full of wisdom. Wisdom, baby. Wisdom. But if you want to add a new habit into your life, look no further. I am here to help you, and I really, truthfully, all jokes aside, me being a cornball, you know what you sign up for with these podcasts. I hope that this podcast can be insightful, because I know for people out there, it is a struggle to add a new habit into their life. Some of these could be, maybe you want to read more daily. Maybe you want a better diet with healthier foods. Maybe you want to save up more money versus spending it. Maybe you want to add daily exercises into your week. Maybe there's a new passion project you are interested in starting to learn, whether it's guitar, painting, video games, writing. Maybe you want to be a podcaster. Do it. Insert literally any new habit. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But is it doable? Absolutely. Can you make a new habit become part of your routine? Absolutely. The only thing that's separating you from making that happen, in all honesty, is consistency, hard work, and accountability. That's all it is. And that's what I'm here to do today. I want to dive into some of the lessons that I've incorporated into my life when I'm trying to add a new habit, okay? Once again, as we listen to these podcasts with ya boy, the bearded man, Bob A. Don't have all the answers. I'm not here saying I'm a professional life coach or anything like that. I'm just sharing from my experiences in the hopes that a little bit of wisdom can sprinkle into you. Just a little bit. Just taking some beard wisdom, sprinkling it over, because that's what I'm here to do, baby. So, we're breaking it down in 4 parts. Visualize the finish line. That is the number one thing when incorporating a new habit into your life. First off, visualize the finish line, okay? You've decided on a new habit you want to incorporate into your life. Clap it up. Deciding and choosing, this is something I want to add into my life, which is more than likely for the better. It's to better you. It's to better your mental space, your head space, your physical body, literally anything. Deciding to add a new habit in your life, more than likely, 99% of the time I would argue, is probably going to benefit you in your life. That's the hardest part, deciding. You decide, yes, this is what I want to do. Cool. So now it's time to get to work, which doesn't sound fun. I know. but we're going to break that down and we're going to make this glamorous. We're going to make this, by the end of this episode, you guys and gals are going to be so fired up to work on these habits. You never imagined that you'd be more fired up to work on a habit after today's podcast. I'm going to make that happen. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I hope so. But before we can actually start putting in that work and trying to build this habit into a routine, I would argue you take a habit and build it into a routine. The routine is non-negotiable. The habit is something that we want to, I think, attain, or maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. But before we do anything, close your eyes and actually visualize yourself achieving this new habit, okay? So do you want to get in better shape? Think and close your eyes and actually do this. Visualize what you want to look like and feel like. Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to feel energized when you wake up every morning? Think about yourself and visualize the person you want to look like and feel like. Do you want to save up money? Okay. Close your eyes and actually visualize the numbers in your bank account growing. Actually think about what it would feel like if you had X amount more dollars in your bank account. How much more at ease you'd be knowing that you have a couple months of rent and bills saved up so that if a check is late or whatever it might be, you have some money to lean on. Visualize and think about that feeling. Get emotionally attached to it. Maybe you want to get really good at guitar. Close your eyes. See yourself strumming the guitar like you're John Mayer. Big fan of John Mayer. Seen him twice live in concert. Highly recommend doing it if possible when this quarantine ends. But actually close your eyes and visualize yourself playing in front of a crowd of people if that's what you want to do. Or even to the simplest, just being able to play a song that you really love. We need to visualize that feeling of what it would look like and how happy we would be at that finish line so that we can get emotionally attached. It gets you excited, gets you fired up, thinking and visualizing yourself at that finish line of the new goal, that goal habit that you're trying to incorporate. It seems like it's so far away. I get that. I hear you. It's happened in my life. But before you know it, time will catch up and you're going to that visualization of that finish line is going to become your reality. And how pumped would you be when you wake up from this dream and that is your now new reality? Think about it, feel it. How's it feel? Excited? Does it fire you up? You ready to get to work? Hold on to that. We have to have some understanding of what that finish line might look like and feel like. So like I said, we can get attached to it. But now that you know the feeling, let's bring that to life. It may seem impossible, very far away, but trust and believe you have what it takes to get there. I'm telling you, from my own experiences, whether it's incorporating a workout routine, whether it's saving up more money, whether it's bringing this podcast to life, I would not have made it to episode 53 if I didn't just focus on, well, we'll get to that part shortly, but I had to actually visualize myself getting to episode 50. And I can visualize myself getting to episode 100. I know I'm far away from there, 47 episodes specifically to get there, but it's going to happen. I know where the finish line is. I can feel it, and I'll get there. So, number one, visualize your finish line for whatever that habit might be. Number two, one small daily step today. Okay? We're breaking this big new habit into one daily step today. I don't want you to think about what it's going to take for the next 30, 60, 90 days. I don't even want you to think about what you're going to look like 6 months from now. What can you do today? The goal is to become obsessed with the present moment, to reflect and learn from the past, to get fired up about the future. But all we can control is this moment. So I don't want anyone to think that overnight all these new habits are going to come to life, and because they're not gonna. Boo-hoo, bearded man, you suck. Guess what? It's the truth, baby. With this beard comes the truth. But they will come to life by us taking that one small daily step today. Once again, let's go back to our 3 examples that I pulled out of my beard. You want to get into better shape? Go for a 30-minute walk around the block today. Are you somebody that likes to run? Go for a mile run today. today. Are you somebody that is afraid of doing push-ups? Great. I want you to try doing 1 today. I want you to try doing 3. I want you to try doing as many as you possibly can, okay? Are you somebody that wants to save up more money? Before you buy those new shoes today on Amazon, because we can't go in the store and try them on, when B.O.B. was I used to sell shoes at Finish Line. Man, Holyoke Mall days. Whew, bless up. Top salesman, by the way. Surprised? Probably not. I'm full of shit. I'm not full of shit. I'm just trying to be funny. It's probably not that funny, though. But before you buy those shoes today or any other piece of clothing, ask yourself, could you get away with the ones that you already own? Could you? Do you need it? Is this buying decision is it a necessary buying decision, I should be saying? Or could you put that $100 into your savings today? Now, it might not seem like a lot. Oh, it's only $100. But that decision where you decide not to buy $100 here, you decide not to buy that shirt next week, $50 there, multiply that over the course of the month, 2 months, 3 months, and that money is going to stack up quick. Are you somebody, like I said before, young John Mayer out there maybe young Taylor Swift? Are you somebody that wants to get good at guitar? Pick it up and take an online YouTube class today for 20, 30 minutes and be okay with the results. Don't think you're going to be playing John Mayer songs by the end of the day or Taylor Swift. But how can you make that one small step today within that 20, 30 minutes? You learn a new strum, you play a new chord. And the only reason I know that is because I used to try to play the guitar and I failed. Shout out to my father for sitting out at Jerry's Music Shop in South Hadley, Massachusetts once a week for probably 2 years too many. Sorry, Bird. I wish I would have gave up earlier because I just wasted your mom's time and money. But I love you and thank you for showing up. We need to fall in love with the day-to-day process of getting just 1% better. Talked about that in a recent podcast. Literally tatted on my hand. No, it's not because I think I'm in the 1%. It's because it's a daily reminder to me. Just get 1% better per day. That's all you need to do. In the grand scheme of things, it can feel like we're not making progress, but you are. Showing up and actually putting in the work in and of itself is a win. Yes, you're not on stage performing in front of 30,000 people. Your biceps aren't ripping out of your freaking arms, your t-shirt, your bank account isn't cash flow enough where you can go buy a Lambo, but you're making progress. This is a marathon, not a sprint. How many times have you guys and gals heard that? A lot probably, right? You're probably like, bearded man, we get it. We don't need to hear it. I'm here to remind you, as long as we stay consistent and we keep going, it's only a matter of time before we get to where we want to be. There's that great Will Smith quote where he talks about running on the treadmill. You can be better than him, but he will die on the treadmill. He will not stop. He will continue to run. And that's the way we need to look at it. We need to literally continue to move forward. No matter what it is, we need to make one small step today. Some days we'll feel like we moved an inch. Some will feel like 2 feet. Some we might even feel like we ran a whole marathon within a day because of the progress we made. As long as we're making a little bit, just a wee little bit of progress, pat yourself on the back because it's going to add up. Anytime you feel anxious or worked up that you're not seeing the results, pause, take a moment to reflect where you were just 2 weeks ago. Think about where you were a month ago, okay? I know I just said get obsessed with the present moment, but it's very easy to then go, okay, I'm here today, but man, I got all this I got to do to get to this next destination. How am I ever going to do it? Well, look back at the road you just came from. Think about all the progress that you've just made in the last 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. Use that as motivation. Emotionally connect yourself to the progress that you have made and think about the finish line like we just talked about. So think about all the work you just put in to get to where you are today and use that as motivation to continue to move forward even on the days where you might feel anxious or overwhelmed. Reflect and think about that future. Use that as inspiration, but go back to the present moment. Have patience and just take one small daily step today. That's the name of the game. Whatever the habit is, every day you wake up, ask yourself, what is one small step today that I can make? That's all you got to do. One small step. We're not asking you to run a marathon, not asking you to become some overnight success. It's not going to happen. Accept it. No problem. Okay, Bearded Man, not going to happen overnight? Great. So what can I do? I can make one small daily step today. Love that. Probably because I wrote that. Number 3, my accountability partner is me. This is huge. We need to become our greatest accountability partner. Okay? Let's be honest for a second. Okay? I mean, I'm trying to always be honest with you guys, but let's get real honest for a second. If we have new habits that we want to add into our life, we can assume that others probably do as well. Am I right? You probably have a friend that's told you like they want to add this new habit into their life. You probably know of somebody that's trying to do that, right? And even then, we understand how hard it can feel to add a new habit into our life because it's new, it's fresh. We're trying to find time to squeeze it into our life. We have all these other things that are happening in our life, like can push this habit off another week, maybe another couple months. We understand how hard it is to just incorporate that new habit into our life, right? So understanding that it's hard to just add the habit in our own life. And secondly, our other friends and family and loved ones are trying to do the same for themselves. We need to accept that we need to be our biggest accountability partner. No questions about it. People need to focus on their own habits, and we got to do the same. If you want to get a habit group going, never been invited to one, but I'm down to join, where you encourage each other on your new journeys of habits, whatever it might be, do it. I don't know if that exists, but hey, create it, start it, fire it up, send me a MySpace invite. I'm down. But we need to be our own biggest accountability partner because people struggle as well to do it for themselves. Now, if you're somebody that financially can afford a trainer for physical, to get yourself in physical shape and to incorporate that physical habit, if you're somebody that can afford, private lessons through Zoom for the guitar, if you can afford a financial advisor to save the money, whatever, please, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But if you're somebody that can't, it's fine. You're going to have to use your mind and be your biggest accountability partner. I've done it and I love it because it's me versus me. So how does one be their biggest accountability partner? I'll tell you how I've done it. When I roll out of bed and it's time to focus on my workout habit, which is the first thing I do every morning, you guys and gals probably know it from all my IG story posts and think I'm Mr. Cool Guy. Win the morning, win the day. I live by it. I'm my biggest hype man. When it's time to make lunch and it's time to focus on my clean eating, dieting habit, I'm my biggest hype man. When it comes to staying consistent and producing 2 pods per week for this show, since still I'm my biggest hype man. I don't allow myself to make up excuses for not showing up. I don't. It's non-negotiable. I don't allow myself to cut corners. I don't go, nobody's going to listen to this podcast, the last episode of 2020. No big deal. I can just push it, start back 2021. Not a chance. One, I have the critic in me that says, Bearded Man, you're not going to skip out on this. You told yourself you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And then I have the hype man that goes, let's go, does the pre-hype videos in my mirror like I normally do, get the energy flowing, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I'm both the hype man and the critic. If I'm not seeing the results I want, I can make the necessary changes because I'm the captain of this ship, baby. This is the Bearded Man ship. Welcome aboard. You guys and gals are the captain of your own ship. If you want to make a change, you are holding the wheel to make that change. So I think it's super important that we become our biggest hype man or hype woman and hold yourself accountable to show up. We can't rely on other people. Like I said, they have their own habits. They have their own life they're trying to figure out. If you can afford a personal coach or somebody that is an expert in that space, go right ahead. But if not, it's totally fine. You're going to be fine. I've done it. Many of others done it before me. You got to hold yourself accountable. If you really want to make a change in your life, look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You are the one that is deciding. You are making a choice every single day whether you show up or not. And if you really want to make that new habit and make that change, you're going to show up. If it's helpful, here's 3 tips to being your own accountability partner. Number 1, I've never done this, but I've seen it work for others. Get a calendar, hang it in your bedroom, hang it in somewhere where you're going to see it every day so it reminds you. Get a calendar and cross off every day you complete that new habit. So when you wake up, whenever you do cross off that new habit that day, put an X through your calendar. It's going to start off slow. You're going to have 3 X's in a row, then 5, then 6, 10, 12. And then you're going to flip through that calendar 4 months later, 5 months later, and you're going to see all these X's, and you're going to pat yourself on the back for actually showing up. So if you need that and you feel good about putting that cross on the calendar, do it. Get a calendar. Visually, it might help hold yourself accountable. Number 2, another tip. If you're someone who enjoys writing, pick up a daily habit journal and write about the experience every day. So if it's fitness, you're talking about, today I got 3 push-ups done. And then next Friday, you got 5. And then the next week, you got 15. And you're writing about the experience. I felt really energized for this workout. I didn't feel so great. I felt mediocre. I felt really good. You're giving yourself a moment to reflect on that experience, and you're documenting it. And then if you skip today, you're going to have nothing to talk about until there's going to be a blank day in your calendar, in your notebook, in your journal, and you're going to be probably disappointing yourself. So you could also do that if that helps you. The third tip that I use religiously, like clockwork, especially for these solo pods, pick certain times of day or days of the week when you focus on that new habit. So for instance, I know every Monday night, 6:10 p.m., I'm firing up these solo podcasts. I have booked that into my calendar, no question about it, no excuses. This is when I record the solo pod for this week's pod that comes out on Thursday. By doing so, I create the motivation to actually show up because I know where I'm supposed to be and when. Like I said before, when it comes to working out every day, I know it's the first thing that I do every morning, and I don't care if I feel like shit. I don't care if I'm not motivated. Insert any other excuse. When I roll out of bed and I put my 2 feet on the ground, it's time to get to work. And ways to avoid feeling like poop and creating that motivation is similar to what I was saying earlier. Eating a healthy diet and being my biggest hype man. Literally, I look at myself in the mirror and I go, let's go. 24 hours ahead of you. That's all you got to focus on. Let's have a great day. Be grateful for your health. Be grateful for financial stability. Be grateful that you live in this house. Be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. That gets the cylinders in my body gassed up, fired up, and I'm ready to roll. So that is really helpful. Pick certain days of the week or times of day where you allocate that time to do the thing, to add the new habit, and no question about it, you got to do it. You have to do it. So that's becoming our accountability partner. We have to do that. Fourth and final piece to creating new habits. Love this one. 2-day rule. Use it, but don't abuse it. So I'm not sure who actually deserves the actual credit for this concept, but I can only credit the person that I learned it from, and that is filmmaker, YouTuber, Matt D'Avella. He did a piece on this probably sometime in, maybe early 2020 or probably in 2019. And this concept is that we never allow ourselves to miss back-to-back days of doing something. For him, he made the video on fitness and how he never allows himself to miss back-to-back days. He will give himself a day off, but he's not allowed to have 2 days off. And I love this. And I use this with my fitness goals, right? I know my body needs rest from time to time, so I take it when I need it. I also know that things happen, and maybe I can get in a workout today, but then tomorrow I can't because life pops up and something happens. Or like, for instance, when I fly back on Thursday night back to the East Coast, I know Friday, not a good chance I'm getting a workout in. So thinking ahead, I'm going to make sure that I work out for sure Thursday so that Friday I'm okay with not getting a workout in because I worked out yesterday. I'm traveling, no big deal. But you bet your ass Saturday when I wake up, I'm getting in that sweat, baby. And it's going to be freezing. And I'm not looking forward to that 30 degrees and below East Coast weather in the middle of the winter, December. Can't freaking wait. Anywho, cross that bridge when I get there. But so having this 2-day rule gives us the leeway and allows us to be okay with skipping days. Okay. So if I feel my body needs the rest, I'm okay. I used to do the, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday off, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I did that. And then I started incorporating this 2-day rule, and I love it because I'm just pulling away the structure of it's only a Monday through Friday thing. And it's just like becoming such a part of my lifestyle that if I can squeeze it every day, I do. And I just don't overwork myself. And I just try to get some endorphins every single day because it's like a drug to me, gets the blood flowing, gets me motivated, gets me inspired, just gets me so mentally fired up for the day. So it's really important. But like I was saying, the real key is never allowing ourselves to miss more than 2 days in a row. Because when you do that, 2 days turns into 3, 3 turns into a full week, a week turns into a few months, and then that new habit just disappears. 6 months go by, we're contemplating getting back into it, but we're like, 6 months already passed, I missed the window, blah, blah, blah. We need to remember that when it comes to new habits, consistency is and forever will be the name of the game. When we want to incorporate these new habits and build them into a routine where it becomes non-negotiable. If something is a routine, that's when I would argue it is a non-negotiable. It is part of your lifestyle. And it can happen. It starts off as a new habit you're trying to build on. And at some point, you kind of flip the page and it becomes such a part of your life that it is second nature. It's a routine. It's something you need to do daily. And the only way we can stay consistent is by actually doing the work. We have to do the work. So, examples I discussed earlier. Fitness is a new habit. Allow yourself to rest when you need it. When you get rid of this whole concept of like, I work out Monday through Friday and I have Saturday and Sundays off. Well, what if on that Wednesday you're not feeling it? Your body aches. You're not in the headspace to get that workout in. Give yourself that day off and be okay with it and get back to it the next day. Maybe you're the one that's saving up money and that's the new habit you're trying to get better at. Allow yourself to make exceptions when necessary. And I would say if it's buying something that's investing in you, such as buying running shoes, I would say go for it. I can rationalize a purchase when I know it's benefiting me. So when I bought these Saucony, I think that's the name of them, Endorphin Pro running shoes about 5 months ago, a little heftier price than I normally pay for a pair of running shoes. These are $180. A lot of money, okay? Usually I go for the $89.99 at Kohl's discount shoes. No disrespect for Kohl's, but solid $90 pair of Nikes feels good. I decided to invest in myself and get better running shoes because I know it helped my health, because it's better on my feet, and I knew it would probably inspire me to run more, and so I could check off all these things of like, this is actually not just a purchase, not me just swiping my credit cards and investing in myself. So if there's an opportunity where you're buying something and it really can be an investment in yourself, whether it's books or new equipment for a passion that you want to start up, give yourself the green light. If it's trying to learn guitar, like I was saying earlier, maybe you're not in the headspace, similar to like I was saying about, the workout. If you're not in the headspace and you don't feel it, give yourself that day off when you need it. But don't allow yourself to go back-to-back days because it's not going to be good in the long haul. If you really need it, don't get me wrong, take 2 days off, 3 days in a row. If you're traveling, you're on vacation, seeing family, I get it. But at a high level and over the long period of time, over 3 to 6 months, we don't want to miss more than 2 days in a row because it helps build that consistency in that momentum. Ultimately, the 2-day rule gives us that buffer to take off a day when it's necessary, but it also helps us stay accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, to recap, creating new habits to stick, this is how we do it. Number 1, we visualize the finish line. Close your eyes and think about what that new habit would look like at the finish line, whether it's adding in that new diet, whether it is saving up more money, whether you're picking up a guitar for the first time. Think about what it would look like to be at that finish line and hold on to that emotional connection because it's going to be important and it's going to inspire you to keep going. Number 2, one small daily step today. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Overnight success, not going to happen. But what can happen is you can make a little bit of progress. You can make 1% progress today. It's going to set you up. So what is the daily step, that I can make today? Number 3, we need to be our biggest accountability partner, because other people have their own habits they're working on. They have other things in their own life. We need to hold ourselves accountable. Look yourself in the mirror and become best friends with your new accountability partner, yourself. And 4th and final piece, the 2-day rule. Never miss back-to-back days on a new habit, but give yourself that buffer when you need it. If you need a day off to let your body reset, or you're not in the headspace to work on that passion project, it's okay. But never allow yourself to miss 2 days in a row. Very, very key. My challenge for you guys and gals, the listeners of this Bearded Man podcast. That was weird. Write down some new habits that you would like to add into your life, okay? And once you have a few of those written down, don't wait until the new year. Start now. Start the day you hear this episode, whether you're still in 2020 or whether it's the middle of 2021. If you have the resources and the time, incorporate it today. We don't want to allow us to get anxious and start overthinking it. Like, all right, in 2 weeks, I'm going to start that new diet. 2 weeks, I'm going to start working out more. In 2 weeks, I'm going to start reading more. No. Start today. Start implementing that new habit today. The sooner we get started, the sooner we're going to be at that finish line. Really key. I really, really push you guys and gals to all incorporate these new habits going into the new year, or if you're in 2021, start today. You don't need a new calendar year to add a new habit. You don't need to start January 1, February 1, June 29th. It does not matter the date. Just start. That's the key. We have one question from the BMC, aka, for those who don't know, that's the Bearded Man community. That's right. If you're listening right now, you're part of the BMC. Welcome aboard. I'll send your certificate in the mail. From Alexa Whittington. She asked, if there are many habits you want to change, what is the best way to start without feeling overwhelmed? Alexa, this is a great question. My advice, my bearded opinion, take it for what it is. I personally would start at the big habits and work our way down. So yes, I understand there are always going to be more habits that we want to incorporate into our life, but take it one step at a time. We can't just think that tomorrow morning we're going to wake up and we're going to meditate daily, we're going to work out daily, we're going to eat better, we're going to call our mom every day. That's a lot. Take it one day at a time. So say you have a list of 10 new habits, pick the most important one first, and I would start there. And start today. And start incorporating that into your life. Finding the time of day that you can do it, whether it's daily or weekly. And once you start feeling comfortable with that new habit, let's sprinkle in the next one. The next second important one. And start working on that. And then as these new habits start to become routines, there's more room for you to add in new habits. Because like I said, it's a new habit. And then when it becomes routine, it becomes non-negotiable. It becomes part of our lifestyle. Once you get into that realm, you're Gucci, baby. You're locked in. You got it. But when there's all these new habits, we need to start at the most important, what matters to us, incorporate it, get into a rhythm, build some momentum, and then start adding the next. But don't be overwhelmed. Just write down the list of the actual habits that you want to incorporate and just take it one step at a time. You got this. We all got this. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That's the last podcast of 2020. I could spend another hour thanking you guys and gals and being appreciative and grateful for those that have listened to this podcast, but I'm going to save you eardrums because I'm sure you got plenty more podcasts to listen to. But know that deep down in my bearded man heart, I love and appreciate every single one of you, and it means the world that you're tuning in because there's a ton of podcasts out there, and I'm glad you're here today. And speaking of which, I woke up to an email today that we are trending number 93 podcasts in Ireland on Apple iTunes for personal journeys. and I'll take that to the bank, baby. Back in the motherland of Ireland, for those that don't know, I'm Irish and Polish. You probably already know based on the ginger beard that I have with brown hair. Doesn't make sense. How did I get a ginger beard and brown hair? I don't know, but I love it. We're trending in the motherland of Ireland. Number 93 of personal journeys. I love that. Doesn't change my life, but I'll take it as a W and I'll keep rolling with it. That's it. I am so excited to see you guys and gals. Well, not necessarily see you, but I hope you're excited to hear from me in 2021. We got a lot of great podcast content coming. Please, if you enjoyed this podcast or any of the podcasts that I've created in 2020, please screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bob, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. It'll help us build some momentum going into the new year. And if you really enjoy it, go leave a iTunes review. We'll hopefully have some catching up to do on podcast reviews of the week when we come back into the new year. But January 4th, mark your calendar. It's a Monday, coming in hot with episode 54. Can't wait. So excited. And a lot more great content coming in 2021. Let's freaking go, baby. So excited. Thank you guys and gals for tuning in. It's your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man. I will see you guys and gals soon enough. Bob A signing off. See ya.